So is there, in your opinion, a gender bias in the boardroom? Is there something that's stopping women taking up those positions?
Yeah, I think there undoubtedly is a gender bias in the boardroom. I think the excuses that were presented this morning are probably not as uncommon as we might think. I still think it's a real challenge for women to get into executive board roles. All the research and all the sort of anecdotal experience that I hear, and I hear quite a lot these days because I speak quite regularly at diversity events, shows that women are still facing an awful lot of barriers.
Are targets the answer? I mean, I think the UK's got a target of a third of women in those roles in the years to come. Is that actually going to solve the problem fundamentally?
I think the targets have been put in place because so little change was happening, and they have driven some change. I mean, the Hampton Review, which is the one that's been reported on today, put in place this idea that FTSE 350 companies should be aiming for a third women. And the 30% Club, which KPMG is one of the founder members of, back in 2010 said that FTSE 100 companies should be aiming for 30% women. And the reason that they've gone for that sort of level is that all of the research shows that, generally speaking, the experience of lone women on large male boards is that they can get marginalised and that they don't get much of a voice. They can be excluded from the sort of off-table board discussions that go on. And it's only really when they get to a level of about a third that women's views start to be represented and to be listened to. But they're not necessarily getting that close to some of those targets. So they're not necessarily driving change at the rate that we would want.
Now, when it comes to sitting around a board table, are women's views markedly different from men's? I mean, does it make a difference to have that I suppose, equality at the table? Would it make any difference to the decisions that are made? Yeah,
I mean, it was interesting. One of the excuses that was quoted today was, I don't think women fit comfortably into the board environment. And I completely agree. I don't think they do. And there's a reason for that. Most boards, particularly FTSE 100 or FTSE 350 boards, are made up of white, middle-aged men. And the problem with a board full of white, middle-aged men, often from very similar backgrounds, in the UK from public schools, is that their values, views and ideas are all very similar too. And that makes for a very comfortable, collaborative boardroom environment. And you can reach agreement very quickly and without too much debate or dissension, but it doesn't support innovative, future-focused, performance-enhancing thinking. So the whole point is that women are different and have different views and different ideas, and that's why we need them on boards.
What about the argument that the cream always rises to the top and those who are the strongest candidates, be they male or female, will end up in those positions?
Yeah, sadly, the research just doesn't bear that out. We are all automatically biased, unconsciously biased, to use the phrase, towards people who are like us. It's human nature. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make people bad people. But because most workplace cultures have evolved to suit male stereotypical behaviours, then they automatically exclude people who don't naturally behave in that way, or they force those people to respray themselves to behave in that way, which completely defeats the object of getting people who think differently and behave differently in the boardroom.